we're talking about here is 2,000 troops moving from the US to Germany and Poland, and 1,000 troops moving from Germany to Romania. So this is a pretty small amount, both compared to the number of American soldiers that are in Europe on any given day, and also compared to the more than 100,000 troops that Russia has amassed at Ukraine's border. But this is meant to be symbolic. It's meant to send a message to President Vladimir Putin that the US is serious about defending NATO members, and it's also meant as a symbol to those NATO members in Eastern Europe who are getting very anxious. But the US has been very clear that these troops are not intended to defend Ukraine if Ukraine is to be invaded. That it's been made very clear both by NATO and by the US that they will not militarily defend Ukraine if it is invaded because it's not a NATO member. But the idea is that if such a conflict were to spill over into Ukraine's neighbors that are NATO members, Romania, Poland, the Baltic states, Hungary, then these troops would be necessary. It's kind of meant as a preemptive sign of defense. And even though it's not militarily significant, the signal is quite strong. And Russia has reacted quite strongly, essentially saying that this represents an escalation of the conflict and isn't helpful. And that is, of course, the concern from people who are worried that this crisis is going to escalate, that this is going to start a tit for tat where Russia puts more troops and the US puts more troops. And there's also concerns that even some Western European countries might engage in a tit for tat here, particularly France, which is concerned about too many American troops moving into Europe. Of course, France's big thing right now is strategic autonomy, that Europeans should be able to militarily defend themselves, and that this could make France have some kind of troop movement within the NATO context in Eastern Europe. So there are concerns that this could escalate, but of course, for the moment, this is a small number of troops.